Hi, welcome to Odyssey of Ascension. I'm Roxanne Swainhart, and I'll be channeling today. I said it again. Channeling for you today. Booyah. Got it right. Thumbs up? Mm-hmm. Awesome. And greetings to the collective. Once again, this is Osifius from the Oversoul Collective Fire. We have a specific subject we would like to talk about that is a big inhibitor in that framework of what you understand as Conscience Collective. We thought it'd be best as a, let's say, group of entities getting together in a little bit of a council meeting to have that frequency, which you understand that of Pallia from the Essassani civilization. And greetings, how are you? Hello?
Good.
Wonderful. Thank you for answering in response, letting me know that I'm here. Awesome. Now, let's talk about sex. Sex is an issue, huge, all around the nations, all around the world, all around the, let's see, the family domain. Sex, 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 sex. My goodness, we're going to talk about that. A subject might be a little bit taboo to you. But let's find out how much freedom lies within the release of the belief that are conditioning your sexual experiences, habits, fetishes, if you will, your urgings, your wantings to fulfill. Now, we're going to give you an idea. Whether you choose to believe it or not is no concern of ours. This is our offering. Take what you will. The human collective in that fashion, as far as sexual, let's say, experiences, is not monogamous. You are meant in a way through, now listen very closely, through the collective selection of that species understanding of itself in sexual content of itself, which means in this particular timeline, you're not monogamous. In other ones, you are. Now, you can be in love with one person. However, all of you know, making love, passionate love in that fashion, and having sex is two different vibrations. One is just to have sex, awesome, and the other one is to share at a deeper, let's say, intimate level of understanding each other. Now, the reason why a lot of you cheat on your so-called spouses in that, let's say, construct of unity we'll call marriage or long-term relationships, a lot of you go awry, cheat in that fashion because one thing was taught that is not a commandment. Don't covet your neighbor's wife. Adultery in that fashion. That was not in any way, shape, or form a commandment. There are no commandments, there are commitments. And that commitment was taken out of text in and of itself. Now, all right. You understand through the belief system that you're going to go to hell, but you already are there because your original sin, so what do you got to lose? That's how a lot of you think. Anyway, so you say, fuck it, I'm going. So you do. Now, but you have in the back of your mind that sin, committing, that long-term, that jealousy, that envy, that lack, that perpetuates this pool of a series of, let's say, yes, a series of belief systems constructed into one massive, let's say, round bubble of belief system that is constantly encrusting your urges to understand sexual experience in and of itself, what it was meant to be. Pardon me. Roxanne has an itch. All right. So, a lot of you go awry, once again, we'll stay with that for a few minutes. You go awry because a lot of you are going awry in that fashion, cheating, having, let's say, extramarital affairs with other entities that when you see them, now this is just one case, but there's an umbrella under this case and you will find that you fit in this one case. Now, in this one case, you find an entity that you automatically see and you're locked in this, let's say, passionate lust with each other. That's set up. Make no mistake, it's not a coincidence. You two found each other, man, man, woman, woman, let go of, let's say, even the construct of, let's say, man, woman, limiting. Anyways, you find that and you want to express with that person as sexual interaction. And a lot of you fight it and fight it and fight it until once again you say, oh, I can't, and then you do it. And then the guilt comes in and you're upset and you confess or you hide or you do it enough times to where it becomes okay. And then you're feeling guilty and you're starting your series of lies which ends in a train wreck with your relationship you cheated with the person upon. It's played thousands of times and a lot of you are going, yeah. Okay. The reason why you found each other is to express your remembrance. A lot of it is, let's say, co-created realities on another timeline. Maybe you're married. Maybe you're having a relationship over there. And maybe in that relationship over there, you're not having what you call sex. So you find each other over here and you have sex. So you can fulfill the two over there that are not having sex. Because of the belief systems that they were brought under. Ta-da! Do you understand? Are you following?
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful. Now, we would have you ask yourself in any of the constructs that the entire idea, umbrella term, of ascension, why would sex be outside of it? It's not. It's not a sin. It's not wrong. It is an expression. It is only you exposing yourself to the jealousy, to the envy, to the lack of self-love you have for yourself. If you find yourself in a predicament where your spouse, your loved one, has exited the plan and, let's say, sowed their oats, so to speak, went to go and experience something. And you find that jealousy within you, awesome. Once again, exposure of the lack of yourself in order to you let go and allow them, listen now, unconditionally to express themselves, because that's what love is. The minute you condition it from an obligation, from a standpoint of a constructed belief system, limit yourself, limit that entity, limit the entire collective. The collective truly is based upon each individual, and that each individual construct, belief, expression goes out with the collective en masse, so to speak. En masse. Everybody. Now, let's figure out something on the other side. How do you, let's say, not want to cheat? Now, here's what's going on in a lot of the ideas. You're not being honest. Two people find each other. They're attracted. They're romantically attracted to each other. They do their usual courting gestures in that fashion. Dinner, movie, date, whatever. Doesn't matter the course of events. You're now engaged in a relationship. 9 out of 10 times, once the relationship is established as that, as a monogamous idea now, then you shift from the self that you are to create that relationship and shift to the self of the one that needs, because of lack, to sustain that relationship and the idea that now I'm in a relationship, I will have no other, this is my last shot, this is the best I can do, so you fight tooth and nail in that aspect to keep it together. So in your coupling times, what do? You're betting each other? Right, of course. But then, everyone, let's say, if you kind of predicted it was going to be a one-night stand, you got nasty, didn't you? You let it go. But then in the marriage or in the relationship, you shift for fear that you lose it. So then sex, i.e., becomes secondary. It may go on for a while, but then life comes in, bills, dreams, hopes, fears, and that becomes secondary. Guys, sex is a complete, if you will, this is still a limiting term, but it helps. It will balance you. It expresses the vibrational state of closest to your body orgasm, closest to your original state of who you are. Ultimate joy, love. So it behooves you to have as many orgasms as you can. All right, next. In the fashion of your lovemaking, most of you, once again, and we're reading the collective, are built under a belief system, guilt, out of bounds, I'm afraid. And we're talking a timeline period here, and we'll go from the 50s up. That is keep, let's say, recreating, but diminishes as allow more come in. We'll get to that in a minute. But when you are in bed, you're not honest. You're not. You're afraid. Because if you get too kinky, you might push them away. So you do what they want to do, but they're not being honest because they're afraid of the same thing. And you're not being honest with each other. This is why, listen now, there's two, let's say, classes of couples. And this is limiting, but you will understand. Two classes of couple that have the highest success rate of two entities staying together in long term. Those that play the fantasy roles, and those that are, let's say, swingers. They're the most fulfilled. Because the love and the expression for allowing in that limiting fashion, or joyful in letting, limiting fashion, how about this? Joyful in letting, we'll leave out letting now. Just overwhelmed that that person has the trust that they can express themselves with a partner, with another partner. That's why swingers are most successful. Because it's not about the sex. They love each other. They're allowing them to be themselves, to fulfill their world as you fulfill your world. But if this is itching you the wrong way, that is a belief. Period. Take what you will. All right. So in continuation of that idea, the honesty of that to your partner, without you being that honesty to your partner, what happens? You cover it up. You confine it. Until the urge, which is stronger than you, of the soul, let's say beckons, begs, and then creates that perfect scenario where that, i.e., other entity we talked about earlier, is poof there in your environment, and you hop in the back of the Chevy and get a quickie. Because you're not being honest with yourself, with the one you love, for fear of a collapse of the idea of a sustained relationship. When you would most definitely have a successful relationship in that limiting fashion if you would just be honest. And if it didn't work out, then why? Why are you concerned if it didn't work out? You will find the one that makes you happy unconditionally by being you. That's what love is. Unconditional. Allowing all the time. Allowing all the time. The other allows all the time because they are unconditional. So they don't look at it in allowing, they just look at it as awesome. You're expressing. And however it plays out, there's no conditioning within that framework. Therefore, it accelerates into the unity of those two becoming one. Make sense?
Yes.
Wonderful. Now, this is why the porn industry is $5 billion, I'm thinking right now, it feels right, a year. But nobody's watching porn. That's your exit. That's your release. You've created billions and billions of websites with definable different attributes of sexual expression. Your fetishes, if you will. You're exploring yourselves. And this is your venue. Listen now. This is within the psyche of humanity to expand itself to become an acceptable reality among the collective after you, let's say, worked out all the kinks. No pun intended. So the idea behind sex in this fashionable now is have it. Be honest. Express. There's no sin. That's your own built-in guilt given to you by whatever belief system you're working under. Definable most likely by religion. Figure it out. It's a belief. Express. And do not have fear. Oh, here we go. Collective reading. Disease. AIDS. STDs. They don't exist in my reality. And I'm in your reality. Therefore, you choose they don't exist in your reality. AIDS, all of you know, may not recognize, may not believe, was a man-made idea of fear. Put into play as that for the ones wanted to be in charge because they are losing ground on their, let's say, power. The religious aspect, if you will. God punishes those gays. Oh yeah. It's going to single you out. Guys, a little bit of, let's say, thought in the fashion of dwelling upon one in particular idea with no conclusion, with allowing your mind to look at other probable realities within that whole framework of the thought you are inquiring upon, allowing your mind to show you all the probabilities only leads to expansion. And in that, with your repetition, your repetitive, in the idea of your, let's say, rhythmic framework of that certain or particular idea, you will reveal the belief systems of the construct within that that will most definitely show you it is made of tissue paper. It is the illusion. You can see that the biggest fear of the generation of their children being exposed to sex at an early age didn't turn out as bad as you thought, did it? No. Because it wasn't in the idea of what you call taboo. I'll give you an example. In the state of Germany, which you call country, if a child can reach the bar with his hand, put his hand up, please, thank you, and touch the bar, they're allowed to drink alcohol. So therefore the child understands what it is at an early age. You're the only idiot who thinking the child is an idiot. Think about that. The child is not. Child is God. The child is not going to go, oh, I got a beer, run, run. He's understanding the reality of his environment. He's expanding himself or herself to understand part of the environment. And then among the God in him, he will conclude what it is. This is why there's no, let's say, huge problem with alcoholism. Drinking while driving. Don't fight for the limitations on that one. They got hard laws. Okay, keep fighting. It's because the construct of the humanity and that collective, it's not a big deal. But you run over to the Western United States with a religion idea going, you know, we're going to take more rules and you're not old enough to drink. So it becomes taboo. So therefore, the urging of the soul through the construct of the mind of something that is out of bounds only urges the soul to experience. So you're the ones in the lawmaker idea being counterproductive to that person. Pardon me. As long as you keep putting more rules on yourself, you're always going to find, let's say, fight. We already told you that. You have an army, you get a war. You put rules, you're going to get rebellion. The rule breakers are always knocking on the door of your rules. But now that you can see that porn is accessible anywhere with all the teenagers, they're like, okay, it's just sex. And you're like, oh, don't. Stop. The new generation knows what it is. It's sex. They're not using it in the same fearful idea. They're not believing your idea on what it is anymore. So shift the entire conscience by allowing it, and one more piece of the puzzle of limitation is now lifted. Every time you constrain the human soul in any way, you will only find the urging of the human soul to break free from itself in that limitation, to expand itself. Only your fear says everything will go wrong if you don't have laws. But if you don't have laws, there's none to break. And if everyone has everything, food, shelter, then people don't want, let's say, to steal. Do they? No, because they have everything. Ta-da. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-da. Think about it. Dwell upon this. This is a birthing pain. You will understand in the fashion as time moves along how you let go of, let's say, seemable needs and laws to control the human collective. When they dissipate because no one longer is paying attention to it, you will see the beauty of love emerge more and more. Because that's what we are. It's only you in your fear that are perceiving the collective as bad, evil, a whoremonger, a thief, a tyrant. If you see that, you be that. I only see love. I only see gods. I only see the infinite playground of the human civilization coming on a point of expansion to the ascension of idea of humanity. 4D awaits you. Get busy under the sheets. I bid you a good moment. I will return you to Osipius.